Hello and welcome to Media Dialogues with Storyboard 18. I am Delshad Irani and today I'm in conversation with a leading CMO and one of the most influential marketers in India. Shweta Jain had spent several years building businesses and brands at alco-bev major Diageo before she decided to move to the iconic hotels and hospitality company, the Leela Group, as its chief marketing and sales officer. In these conversations where we put the spotlight on future-forward CMOs, we'll figure out what it takes to crack strategies that are dynamic, data and tech-driven, and more importantly, customer-centric. We will also glean insights on how to combine the reach and tangibility of traditional marketing with the precision and agility of digital marketing. So on that note, welcome to the studio, Shweta. It's absolutely delightful to have you here today.
Hello, Dilshad. Thanks for having me over and really looking forward to this another series that you are pioneering, the dialogues that you're pioneering.
Thank you so much. And before we, of course, get into the theme of today's conversation, let me first ask you, we have the major sort of great Indian festive season coming up, and we've already had a blockbuster H1 with the elections, the IPL, the T20 World Cup. So just, from an industry perspective, what are we to expect from marketers? How do they sort of shape up their plans in a year such as this?
I think it's not just the absolutely the right kind of tailwinds, and especially when it comes to, say, travel, tourism, and luxury premiumization, which is where I sit with our wonderful brand, which is Leela Palaces, hotels and resorts. So I think we are seeing what I read as once in a lifetime kind of opportunities as far as being an Indian brand, being an Indian origin or an Indian provenance brand, going to the world, or the other way around, where the whole world is kind of looking at India. So I think this kind of coming together of opportunity happens only once in many years, and these few years have been about celebrating a lot of that opportunity, bringing and taking a lot of those stories to the world. And I think at Leela, we are really looking at it as an opportunity to look at the festive season, some of the new occasions that are emerging around, say, leisure travel, even the way we are all entertaining or taking short breaks, or even planning longer indulgent holidays when it comes to some of our resort properties. So I think a lot of all kinds of energies and all kinds of trends are coming together, are converging together as we look at the big festive behavior, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail as we get into the conversation.
We'll absolutely talk about that a little bit more. But again, there was something very interesting you mentioned to me just earlier, and because you mentioned how behaviors and habits are changing, you also mentioned that Leela, especially the Bangalore property, has become this sort of hub for a lot of startuppers and VCs to meet there and conduct their business from there. So just a little insight into that,
Yeah, if I talk about Leela Bangalore, it has always been a pioneer. When it first came into being, that used to be the airport, right? And how you had a urban oasis of a palace right in that hustling and bustling city is stuff made of legends, right? That's the piece over there. So I think that's the seamlessness that we are talking about, that a lot of us who are looking at our life and our weeks and our months and our quarters in a very fluid manner, right? We are not hard-lined by work. This is work, this is life, or this is leisure, and this is a corporate entertainment. I think a lot of blending, and that's what we see, that how our palaces are allowing for you to kind of blend that kind of a lifestyle. So you could be in a Leela fantastic all day dining like Citrus, say, talking about Bangalore, where you could have just come out of a workout session or a yoga session, and we have a breakfast line called Ojasya, which is done with mindful eating and multiple health-friendly wellness options over there. You could get into your workspace in the afternoon in a Leela meeting room, or if you're a member of the members only club that we have, you could do your networking lunch. You could be sitting there, and you could just wind it up and round it up with a award-winning bar right there in Leela called ZLB 23. So literally that's one trend, and that's what I think Bangalore saw being pioneered by the Leela Palace Bangalore, where seamlessly, like your work life is seamless, you could be navigating that over there.
Let me just get into that a little bit more, Shweta, and talk about how different is it in a category like yours, luxury, lifestyle? What are some of the key trends that you're noticing, especially when you see this sort of confluence of addressing all of these experiential needs that people have these days, along with sort of the technology aspect of it, especially with everything that we're seeing with AI and the accelerated pace of AI adoption. How are you putting that in whichever piece of the puzzle that you are sort of dealing with right now? How are you leveraging technology in experiences?
Yeah, and that's a tough one for a luxury brand, right? Because hospitality specifically is a lot of tangibles. So you see the grandeur, the architecture, the lobbies, the restaurants, the rooms, the touch and feel part of it. But it all comes to alive because it's a service, right? And I think technology is playing a dual role as far as Leela is concerned. Technology or our own owned media, as I call it, allows us, informs us to be almost predicting the guest expectations, right? So let me take a case and example. I think our holidays, as we are seeing, is a new trend where we are taking long holidays, which are more multi-generational in that matter. So you might be a extended family holidaying together. You will want to enjoy yourselves and not be limited just by a room. So for example, in Leela Palace Jaipur, we have these villas which are connected. They have a plunge pool, so you could be with your family over there in just lounging over there. Then you move to the next room where you might have your parents or your extended family kind of, and you could get a private kind of a barbecue experience over there. Technology, AI informs us on how that consumer or guest has been interacting with say our social media handles, or with various aspects of our content pages, or this thing. So the team on ground has already kind of prepared the kind of mix of experiences that they're going to put together for that particular family. There is a data, which is preempting, which is telling me that this is how I can really wow you. So there's a big role that technology and IRL, as they call it, where they are converging together, because my associates or my team is already aware of how bespokeness, or what kind of bespokeness that they can deliver over there. And equally, when I look at it from the other side, if you are a guest who's come to me several times over, the person who's interfacing with you is already prepared an experience for you that saves you time, that doesn't let you meander through the lobby, etc., etc.
Has to be seamless.
Has to be seamless. So technology is playing a role in both informing and making our guest experiences better. And equally, if you are a prospective Leela consumer, technology is almost helping you preempt, pre-plan, put the whole thing together. Solution enabling that it is doing from a marketing perspective is that I look at it when I sit with my team. I look at the marketing footprint or marketing strategy for Leela as a two-pronged one. We have technically our own media, right? Each one of our asset, each one of our hotel, the social media pages, to even printed word, to the cars that pick you is actually like our own media, right? And a lot of what you can do once you are in a Leela environment is all shared with you. You can almost personalize your own programming choices, because because I'm telling you that like a media channel would do.
Right.
And then, of course, I have a mix of digital as well as experiential tools that my team uses to bring that Leela experience to life for you. If you are a international inbound leisure guest who is visiting India for the first time, the Leela informed, data informed driven engine has already curated a palace trail for you. So you land in Delhi, you are picked up, you don't have to go through 50 combinations of saying that how much time should I spend in Jaipur, what should I do if I need to get to Udaipur. It's all been programmed, pre-planned. You just have to select what are your areas of interest. Are you looking at culture? Are you more favoring culinary experiences? Are you favoring outdoor adventures? The whole thing comes together for you.
And just calibrate it to exactly what you are looking for. But tell me this, Shweta, we are seeing, of course, we constantly talk about being in this sort of, for lack of a better expression, Tinder age, where consumers are constantly flirting with brands, and you stick to one, you don't stick to one, whatever the case may be. Loyalty is an issue, is a challenge for a lot of brands across sectors. Specifically coming to the hospitality and your category, how critical is the loyalty factor, right? I mean, and all of these sort of bespoke experiences that you're giving your customers, providing those inputs for prospective customers, how is that helping keep that loyalty there?
Again, like you go, on the top tier kind of brands and experiences, I think loyalty is a very, very misguided word according to me. Why do I say misguided? Because it is, you've bought into the world and the philosophy of that brand, right? You've bought into, and then the way you define loyalty there is very different from the way you define loyalty when you are just doing that to earn some points, right? So there are businesses and brands that are focused on recruiting through loyalty.
Right.
But I think when you are a true blue luxury brand, the meaning of loyalty, again, as I say, translates into what is it that I'm solving for you as a guest. And loyalty is to that opportunity cost that the guest or the consumer is paying for. Case in point is, we spoke about it, that when it comes to very top-end luxury brands, philosophically the member who's choosing or the person who's choosing Leela every time for every occasion has already bought into the fact that this is what Leela stands for, and I would have this and nothing else.
Right.
So I think the definition or the dimension of loyalty that a luxury brand such as ourselves uses is to simplify, to be the enabler for what that guest or that consumer would otherwise need other brands to solve for, right? So I think that is one aspect over there. However, I must confess that the younger people, the younger people who are becoming affluent faster, their definition of loyalty is very different from say even a generation and a half ahead, because they bought into a brand's philosophy and they would subscribe to it over and over again. But the younger people, because they are driven by, like you said, multiple options in every category that they interact with, I think it is the job of the marketer to keep continuing giving new reasons and driving engagement. And it has to be consumer back and not brand out. So the whole approach of getting engagement from younger, affluent consumers, even for a luxury brand, the codes are very, very different. Right. So let me again give you a Leela example. The kind of social media engagement that some of my pages drive are balanced out, and you can look at it. nuanced micro occasions when we are talking about talking to young consumers.
Okay. And when you say young consumers, what are we looking at? Are we looking at sort of late millennials, Gen Z?
I think what we are looking at from a Leela lens are the cusp of Gen Z late millennials. So it's very interesting that many of Leela hotels and especially our website finds a higher engagement with younger consumers.
Interesting.
And that's what I was
what
connecting to.
What do you put that down to?
So what do we put down to is that, like I said, that for these younger consumers, micro occasions of celebrations are bigger and more important than I'll wait for the wedding to happen and then only I will, I will have this kind of luxury experiences. Younger consumers would much rather go to a Megu in New Delhi and have the authentic, innovative Japanese cuisine experience rather than not go today, right? So that's what we're seeing, that a lot of our food and beverage experiences are actually drawing a lot of interest into the younger consumers who are uptrading and engaging with what they call a luxurious experience.
Right.
In those micro occasions. We are also seeing that the advent of short breaks, and which is where what we call our city palaces, like we spoke about Bangalore, like we have one in Chennai. Of course, Delhi is at the heart of it. We have a hotel which is in the heart of Kerala, Ashtamudi and Kovalam, where you see a lot of younger people coming for 3 days, almost on a solo staycations.
Yeah.
The other thing that we are seeing is that indulgence, single solo travelers. So it could be somebody like you and me who obviously leads a pretty hectic life, and they just want to come for a spa vacation to Udaipur, and it's a self-treat, and we are seeing that happening.
Your role is very interesting. It is Chief Marketing and Sales Officer. So tell me a little bit about how important is this sort of shift that we're seeing in the role of a CMO. And again, it's always been a question, a challenge there, right?
Yeah.
Like what do marketers do? It's not just advertising, it's not just communication, but now we're seeing this sort of connection to the P&L, of course. So tell me, how is this sort of agenda shift happening, and what's the impact of it?
Absolutely.
What does it mean for the CMO, but also sort of marketing as a function?
I think it is almost, we used to talk about it, Dilshad, if you remember a few years back, there were many debates about, what is the efficacy of a CMO, what does actually marketing kind of end up impacting, right? I think a lot of future back kind of orientation and cultures which are already looking at it in a holistic manner are creating this sort of connected energies, right, between the what we call demand creation, demand servicing, and demand generation functions. So that's how I put it, that there are three aspects that join up sales and marketing, right? There is demand creation, which is where marketing sits at the cusp of. You are able to use data and also trend lines in a succinct manner, layer it with creative flair, and start creating demand from a future perspective. You have an aspect or a teams that are supposed to service the current demand, right? That classic funnel of recruitment and re-recruitment,
right.
Which, depending on the stage of the brand or the business you are, you may be more weighted towards demand servicing, or you may be weighted towards demand creation. And then comes the demand fulfillment, which is what has always sat as a separate function. I think the way the consumer world and the connectedness is, which is being enabled by digital, by data, and even in experience brands, by the end experience. I think the convergence of this role or these two functions is something the time has come, because what it does is that it enables you to impact every line of the P&L, right? And I think more so in categories which are all about premiumizing, which are about walking your consumer into the ladder, because the consumer itself is climbing the ladder faster, especially the Indian consumer. We are not waiting to be 40 to buy our dream car. We are not waiting to be 40 to take that fantastic spa villa vacation, etc.
So I want it now.
We want it now.
Yeah.
So if we want it now, then the role of demand creation, demand servicing, and then demand generation has actually come together. And I look at it actually like two inverted funnels. So you need talent, which is very heavy, marketing talent, which is very heavy on demand generation. But in sales also, you need storytellers, because our product, our kind of the whole experience itself is, as I say, is a story that needs to be told, and that leads to a commercial or a sales impact. And if I don't create enough stories, then what will the sellers sell? So I think I see it as an inverted kind of pyramids which complement each other, and the sum whole is what we in many platforms we call it as growth or demand or experience. There are many nomenclatures to that.
Absolutely.
But I think my role as Chief Marketing and Sales in Leela is actually with that pioneering spirit to say that we have a wonderful bunch of experiences which are not just for storytelling but are also for selling. So I think the two come together.
Absolutely.
That way.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Shweta. It was lovely chatting with you, like always. Thank you.
Thank you.